So hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So first of all, I would love to start the video by telling that this video on my channel hit 100 views. I would love to thank everyone who has shown their support on this channel and keep supporting me forward. Thank you. And today is the 31st of October, so you guys know, right, what is on 31st of October. Happy Halloween, guys. So do you guys know why Halloween is celebrated? Halloween or Hallows Eve is observed on 31st of October on the eve of All Saints Day, which is on November 1st. It is observed for the faithfully departed to God as well as the saints. So I'll give you a little backstory of how the word Halloween came. So in Scotland, the word for eve is even. So it was Hallows Even. So when it came to the West, in the US, they made it short and they made it Halloween, and it's celebrated as a holiday we all know today. So, and also there is one theory that Halloween didn't have its origin in Christianity, and it actually came from ancient Celtic tradition, especially the Gaelic festival, which is like the end of harvest festival called Samhain. So let's get into the main topic of the video, the Conjuring universe explained and the real stories of Conjuring 1, 2 and also 3. The 3 is not out yet. It was slated for a September 2020 release this year, but you know what happened this year, right? Yeah, so that it was pushed to 2021, but the title pretty much gave away the backstory of the film. So for the guys who don't know what Conjuring and the Conjuring universe means, who have not watched the movie or any of the spin-offs, so let me tell you, Conjuring is based off real life persons called Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were self-proclaimed demonologists and clairvoyant. The character of Ed and Lorraine Warren is played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. Ed was a World War II veteran, and after the war, he taught himself how to be a demonologist, and his wife Lorraine Warren was a clairvoyant, which means she has psychic powers and she's more susceptible to spirituality and kind of those stuff. So some of their famous cases which they have investigated include the Amityville, Enfield Poltergeist, Union Cemetery, Haunting in Connecticut, and the Anishine Johnson murder case, which will tie into Conjuring 3 later. I'll tell the story. So let's get into the real story of Conjuring 1. So if you have seen Conjuring 1, you might already know the story, but if you don't know, I will tell you the real story, not the one portrayed on film. So Conjuring 1, the first movie, is actually based on the hauntings faced by the Perron family in the 1970s. In June of 1970, Carolyn and Roger Perron moved to a farm estate known as the Old Arnold Estate to raise their 5 daughters. So as soon as they got to the house, when they settled in, they came to know they were not alone. First, the haunting started out slow, doors moving on its own, ghosts walking in the veranda, seeing the kids play. But later it turned into a poltergeist-like activity with violence towards the mother of the family, who was Carolyn Perron. And according to research and established truth, she was actually haunted by Bathsheba Sherman. Bathsheba Sherman lived on the Old Arnold Estate back in the 80s with her husband and 3 kids. So 3 of her kids died very young, and another kid died in her care. So people accused her of witchcraft. So, and according to how the story goes, she hung herself out of guilt and cursed the property. And you might ask, why was she attached to Carolyn? Because Carolyn was a wife whom she couldn't be. That's why she attacked Carolyn Perron. So unlike how it is portrayed in the movie, Ed and Lorraine didn't have that much of a major role in the investigation. Actually, they had been called by the family, and when they went to investigate, they performed a seance. So during the seance, from what the eldest daughter has told, they opened up a portal which couldn't be closed, and that agitated the activities more, and they were actually kicked out. So the film is half fabricated and half kind of true. Now let's come to the story of Conjuring 2, also known as the Enfield Poltergeist. So another one specialty of this case is this is one of the most documented paranormal investigations ever. I mean, like forever. So it all started August 30th, 1977 to the Hodgson family. On the 30th August night, the eldest daughter Janet came, waking her mother up, telling that her brother's beds were shaking violently and making rumbling kind of noises. The mother, thinking that she had a bad nightmare, just told her to go sleep. And the next day, same incident happened and the mother woke up and went to check on that. That time she found that a drawer was actually moving on its own. So when she tried to stop it, the drawer actually went to the door and blocked the door so that the family couldn't get out. So somehow Peggy, who was the mother, went out of the house and asked the neighbors for help, and they called the police in. So the police came to the scene and they started investigation, and according to police reports, official police reports, they saw that the chairs were moving on its own accord and they didn't have any explanation for that. So they checked for strings and anything tied so that maybe the family is pulling a prank on them, but they couldn't find anything on that. An officer went as far as to take a marble and put it on the ground and see if it is moving, because they thought maybe the house is on an incline, so that's why the chair moved, and there was no explanation for that. And the police told they couldn't get involved in the case because there was no crime occurred. After this news broke out and everyone was on this case, skeptics, believers, everyone wanted to know what was happening there. So in the movie it's portrayed that the Warrens had a major role in the investigation, but actually they turned up one day uninvited and did some test and investigation, and they went back after that, and they had no other role to play in the investigation other than that one day. And all the other investigation and proofs were dug up and presented by Maurice Cross. So in the investigation done by Maurice Cross, they heard evil voices, Lego bricks floating around, chairs, floating, flipping, the children's levitating. Levitating means they rise up from the ground without any explanation. And matches catching fire on their own. The match will be just kept there and it catches fire on their own. Then random pools of water appearing on the kitchen floor, and there was this ominous voice of growling, and always it seems to come from Janice. And this was not only witnessed by Maurice, it is actually well documented, and there were, according to reports, there were more 30 people who saw these stuff happening to the family. And the spirit who was haunting them was known as Bill Wilkins. So Bill Wilkins was a guy who lived in the same house before them. He died of a brain hemorrhage, and actually there's another fact to this, that when the recording of this voice was shown to one of his relatives, I believe it was his son or his grandson, actually they recognized it as his voice, Bill Wilkins' voice. Get into the story of Conjuring 3. So Conjuring 3, the movie is not out yet. Because someone decided that 2020 was his year and he was going to shine the most. So the movie got pushed to 2021 release, and I hope it is in the first quarter of 2021 and not in the end quarter, because it would be a very long wait and I can't wait to see the third movie in the franchise. So it all started when the Glatzel family moved to Brookville, Connecticut to a new house. So the family had 3 kids, the eldest daughter Debbie and 2 younger sons, and the activities mostly happened to David, the youngest son. After they had settled in, David, the youngest son, started experiencing some weird things. One day he woke up screaming and came down to his parents and told that there was an old man sitting on the chair in his room. And they thought that he was just having a nightmare and told him don't worry and just go sleep. So this happened frequently, night after night. So then they thought that he was feeling alone, and because he moved, that's why he couldn't get adjusted to the new house, and he was exhibiting those kind of behaviors. That's when Debbie, the eldest daughter's fiance, who was Arnie Johnson, was called to the house to keep David company. So even after Arnie Johnson was called, he didn't have any change in his behavior. Actually, the behavior worsened. He was very playful and joyful. So after that incident started occurring frequently, he kept to himself. He didn't speak much, and whenever asked about why he's not speaking and why he was behaving like that, he would tell that the old man who only used to appear in his room at night started appearing everywhere else, even during the morning, and he could also see other demon faces, and they all told that they will drag him to hell and take his soul. After this, day by day he started feeling sick, and the doctors were called in, and the doctors, even though they prescribed medicine and they done many things to him, he couldn't recover to what he used to be. So then the family understood that something was wrong, and they consulted a local priest. So once the local priest came and did a cleansing of the house, the activity is actually heightened. At night, David would start screaming and growling whole throughout the night. Then when he wakes up from his sleep, he used to have scratches all over his body. That time they understood that something was very wrong, and they called in the Warrens for help. So the Warrens came, and in their preliminary investigation they found out, Lorraine found out that when seeing David, she could actually see a dark misty form behind him. So they had a hunch that he was possessed. After this, they enlisted the help of priests to actually exorcise David and get rid of all these demons. So exorcism process was very tedious, and David was crying, he was levitated off the bed, he was screaming very loud, and he was crying. So Arnie Johnson, Debbie's fiance, who couldn't see that his wife's brother was going through such pain, challenged the demons, telling that they were scaredy cats, and that's why they were tormenting a young kid, and if they had guts to come and possess him. So after 3 exorcisms, David was rid of all the demons. So the problem actually started when Arnie and Debbie moved houses to a place close to Debbie's workplace. And when there in that apartment, Arnie Johnson started exhibiting some symptoms which were almost like her brother David's. He used to growl at night, he used to not sleep properly, he used to have scratches and bruises, and he used to not behave like himself. So she thought that seeing David had put Arnie in a trauma kind of state. So to cheer him up, she actually organized a lunch with the apartment owner Alan Lobo and other family friends. So after going out, after having lunch, they went to a bar and started drinking. And for some reason, I don't know the exact reason, there's some places they tell this is the reason, some places tell that is the reason, but the official reason is because Arnie Johnson took hold of Mary, a 9-year-old of Alan Lobo, and he refused to let him go, and there was a squabble between them both, and at last Arnie, in rage, took a pocket knife from his pocket, stabbed Alan Lobo, and he succumbed to his wound, and after a few hours he died. It was the first case where a defendant, a murderer, actually used the excuse that he was possessed for doing a crime. And that's when the Warrens were called to testify he was possessed. And even though they testified in court, later they served him a sentence of 20 years in jail. But as soon as he entered jail, because of his good behavior, he got out in 5 years. And Arnie Johnson tells that he doesn't remember anything from the time he exited the Glatzel family house till he was in the jail cell. So that's it, guys. This is a video where I explain the stories, the real stories of the 3 main Conjuring films, Conjuring 1, 2 and 3. So I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like on the video, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and also enable the bell notification so you'll be notified next time I post a video. And hope you have a good Halloween and do what you like. And I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye.